How you doing, guys? For this week's topic, I'm going to be talking about everybody's fairly favorite subject, cable TV providers. And the reason I'm talking about this is because this affects me directly. Charter is buying and merging with Time Warner Cable. Now, Time Warner Cable is my current internet provider right now. And typically, I don't like mergers with cable companies because often, a lot of times, I'm not saying they have a direct monopoly, but often in the area they live in, there's usually not much choices. And same thing with me, I don't have very many choice either through the aerial, broadcast television, the internet, and Time Warner Cable, or whichever it happens to be at the time, or depending on who buys who. Now, it's kind of a funny story because originally, when I came back down here after being in the military, it was Charter provided cable TV and internet, and then that was bought by Colbridge Communications, probably the suckiest, worst cable internet provider ever. But shortly after, it was bought by let me see who it went to then. Time Warner Cable, actually. And then it circles around back to Charter again. I don't know. There are some good things about this merger. But in the long run, we'll really see. That's usually telling of what really happens. And now, actually, a lot of people, or even Charter, realizes there's a lot of bad blood between customers and Time Warner Cable. Often very bad services. I think it was probably rated one of the lowest companies ever for customer service, and perhaps the high prices as well. But recently I did see big improvements in their service, and this is even before I knew about the merger. And so before, you used to have to wait all morning or afternoon for a service technician to show up. They wouldn't give you an exact time. So you end up, taking time off from work or other, things. So now they actually, they'll show up within a 1 hour time frame window. And they'll specify, or I don't know if they specify or the customer specifies if possible. And they'll even text message a picture of the technician and his name. So that is a good point on Charter now, who actually now owns Time Warner Cable. And now, usually when you have big mergers like that, it has to be approved by the government because they don't want to make sure there's no monopolies exist or collusion or dozens of different things, make sure it's legal. And so it was approved by the government with a few stipulations. No data caps on anybody, which is great. No more charging extra fees to media content providers like Netflix, Hulu, and others, because often that trickles back down to the customer in higher prices. And there's a big thing with Netflix, even though Netflix does use a whole lot of bandwidth, more so than any other thing on the internet, because they provide obviously streaming TV and movies. And they're also prevented from making TV exclusive deals that could potentially harm online content or services and content providers as well, such as Netflix and Hulu and whatever else. I'm going to remain skeptical a little bit. I do see some good points with it, but usually, like I said, the long run, you'll see, how it actually turns out. We may initially see good prices, but as time goes on, I think eventually we're going to see them go up in some way. I don't know. So I'm a little bit up in the air about that. So I don't know. Let me let me know what you think of your service, TV, cable service providers, and or internet.